Today our topic is the understanding of political party system in the United States. United States political system is dominated by two major political parties, the Republican and the Democrat. Since the 1850s, they have been the Democratic Party as well as the Republican. The two-party system is based on laws, party rules and custom, not specifically outlined in the US Constitution. Various small minor parties come and go and occasionally win minor offices at the state and local level. The local office or local government system is often found as non-partisan system of the local bodies. If we take a bird-eye view about the need to win popular support in a republic led to the American invention of voter-based political parties, which took its start in the 1790s. Americans were especially innovative in devising new campaign techniques that linked public opinion with public policy through the party. Political scientists and historians have divided the development of America's two-party system into 5 eras. The first two-party system consisted of the Federalist Party, which supported the ratification of the Constitution, and the Democratic Republican Party, or the anti-administration party, which is called anti-federalists, which opposed the powerful central government, among others, that the Constitution established when it took effect in 1789. The modern two-party system consists of the Democratic Party and Republican Party, and several third parties also operate in the US and from time to time elect someone to local office. The largest third party system or third party since the 1980s has been the Libertarian Party. Besides the Constitution, Green and Libertarian parties, there are many other political parties that receive only minimal support and only appear on the ballot in one or a few states. Some political candidates and many voters choose not to identify with a particular political party, and in some states, independents are not allowed to vote in primary elections, but in others, they can vote in any primary election of their choice. Although the term independent often is used as a synonym for moderate, centrist, or swing voter to refer to a politician or voter who holds views that incorporate facets of both liberal and conservative ideologies. Most self-described independents consistently support one of the two major parties when it comes in to vote or comes in time to vote, according to Vox Media. The United States Constitution is silent on the subject of political parties. The founding fathers did not originally intend for American politics to be partisan. In Federalist Papers number 9 and number 10, Alexander Hamilton and James Madison, respectively, wrote specifically about the dangers of domestic political factions. In addition, the first president of the United States, George Washington, was not a member of any political party at the time of his election or throughout his tenure as president. Furthermore, he hoped that political parties would not be formed, fearing conflict and stagnation, as outlined in his farewell address. Nevertheless, the beginnings of the American two-party system emerged from his immediate circle of advisors, Hamilton and Madison, who wrote the aforementioned Federalist Papers against political factions, ended up being the co-leaders in this emerging party system. It was the split camps of Federalists, given rise with Hamilton as a leader, and Democratic Republicans, with Madison and Thomas Jefferson at the helm of this political faction, that created the environment in which partisanship, once distasteful, came to being. The Federal Party System 1792 and 1824. The first party system was this. The United States featured the Federalist Party and the Democratic Republican Party, also called Jeffersonian Republican. The Federalist Party grew from the National Network of Washington's Secretary of Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, who favored a strong united central government, close ties to Britain, a centralized banking system, and a close links between the government and men of wealth. The Democratic Republican Party was founded by Madison and Thomas Jefferson, who strongly opposed Hamilton's agenda. The Jeffersonians came to power in 1800, and Federalists were too endless to compete effectively. The Federalists survived in the Northeast, but their refusal to support the War of 1812 verged on secession and was devastating blow when the war ended well. The era of good feelings under President James Monroe, 1816 and 1824, marked the end of the first party system and a brief period in which partisanship was minimal. The second party system started from 1828 to 1854. The second party system operated from about 1828 to 1884, following the splintering of the Democratic Republican Party. Two major parties dominated the political landscape: the Whig Party and Henry Clay, who led this party, that grew from the National Republican Party, and the Democratic Party, which was led by Andrew Jackson. The Democrats supported the primary of the presidency over the other branches of government and opposed both the Bank of the United States as well as modernizing programs that they felt would build up industry at the expense of the taxpayer. The Whigs, on the other hand, advocated the primacy of Congress over the executive branch as well as policies of modernization and economic protectionism. Central political parties and central political battles of this era were the bank war and spoil system of federal patronage. The 1850s saw the collapse of the Whig Party, largely as a result of decline in its leadership and a major intra-party split over slavery as a result of the Kansas-Nebraska Act. In addition, the fading of old economic issues removed many of the unifying forces holding the party together. The third party system, which was started from 1854 to 1890s, the third party system, which stretched from 1854 to mid-1890s and was characterized by the emergence of the anti-slavery Republican Party, which adopted many of the economic policies of the Whigs, such as national banks, railroads, high tariffs, homes, leads, and aid to land grant or land grant colleges. The Democratic Party was in large part the opposition party during this period, although it often controlled the Senate or the House of Representatives, or both. Civil War and Reconstruction issues polarized the parties until the Compromise of 1877, which ended the latter. Thus, both parties became broad-based voting coalitions, and the race issue pulled newly enfranchised African Americans, freedmen, into the Republican Party, while white Southerns or Redeemers joined the Democratic Party. The Democratic Coalition also had conservative, pro-business Bourbon Democrats, traditional Democrats in the North, many of them former Copperheads, and Catholic immigrants, among others. The Republican coalition also consisted of businessmen, shop owners, skilled craftsmen, clerks, and professionals who were attracted to the party's modernization policies. The fourth party system originated from 1896 to 1932. The fourth party system consisted of the same interest group as the third party system, but saw major shifts in the central issues of debate. This period also corresponds to the progressive era and was dominated by the Republican Party. It began after the Republicans blamed the Democrats for the Panic of 1893, which later resulted in William McKinley's victory over William Jennings Bryan in the 1896 presidential election. The central domestic issues changed to government regulation of railroads and large corporations, trusts, the protective tariff, the role of labor unions, child labor, the need for a new banking system, corruption in party politics, primary elections, direct elections of senators, racial segregation, efficiency in government, women's suffrage, and control of immigration. Most voting blocs continued unchanged, but some realignment took place, giving Republicans dominance in the industrial Northeast and new strength in the border states. Historians have long debated why no Liberal Party emerged in the United States in contrast to Western Europe. Fifth and sixth party systems started from 1933. Emerged with the New Deal coalition beginning in 1933, Republicans began losing support after the Great Depression, giving rise to Democratic President Franklin D. Roosevelt and the activist New Deal. Democrats promoted American liberalism, anchored in a coalition of specific liberal groups, especially ethno-religious constituencies, Catholics, Jews, African Americans, white Southerners, well-organized labor unions, urban machines, progressive intellectuals, and populist farm groups. Opposition Republicans were split between a conservative wing led by Ohio Senator Robert A. Taft and a more successful moderate wing exemplified by the politics of Northeastern leaders such as Nelson Rockefeller, Jacob Javits, and Henry Cabot Lodge. The latter steadily lost influence inside the GOP after 1964. Experts debate whether this era ended, and a sixth party system subsequently emerged in the mid-1960s when the New Deal coalition died. The early 1980s, when the moral majority and the Reagan coalition were formed. The early 1990s, when third way emerged among Democrats. The mid-1990s, during the Republican Revolution, or if the fifth system continues in some form to the present. Since the 1930s, the Democrats positioned themselves more towards liberalism, while conservatives increasingly dominated the GOP. However, new voter coalitions emerged during the later half of the 20th century, with the conservatives and the Republicans becoming dominant in the South, rural areas and suburbs, while liberals and the Democrats increasingly started to rely on a coalition of African Americans, Hispanics, and white urban progressives. The other parties which are minor and the independents. Although American politics have been dominated by the two-party system, several other political parties have also emerged throughout the country's history. The oldest third party was the Anti-Masonic Party, which was formed in upstate New York in 1828. The Anti-Masonic Party. The party's creators feared the Freemasons, believing they were a powerful secret society that was attempting to rule the country in defiance of Republican principles. The other minor parties in the United States has an array of minor parties, the largest of which on the basis of support for their presidential candidates in 2016 election are the Libertarian, Green and Constitution parties. The Libertarian Party was founded on December 11, 1971. It is the largest continuing third party in the United States, claiming well over 5 lakh registered voters across all 50 states. As of 2019, they have about 176 minor elected officials, including one state legislator. A Representative Justin Amash, a Republican from Michigan, switched to the Libertarian Party in May 2020 to become the first Libertarian Party member of Congress. The 2012 Libertarian Party nominee for United States President was former New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson. He achieved ballot access in every state except for Michigan, only as a write-in candidate, and Oklahoma. He received over 1 million votes in the election. In 2016, Johnson ran again, receiving over 4 million votes, or 3.3% of the popular vote. The Libertarian Party's core mission is to reduce the size, influence, and expenditures in all levels of government. To this effect, the party supports minimally regulated markets, a less powerful federal government, strong civil liberties, drug liberalization, open immigration, non-interventionism, and neutrality in diplomatic relations, free trade and free movement to all foreign countries, and a more representative republic. As of 2016, it is the third largest organized political party in the United States. The next is the Green Party, that has been active as a third party since the 1980s. The party first gained widespread public attention during Ralph Nader's second presidential run in 2000. Currently, the primary National Green Party organization in the US is the Green Party of the United States, which has eclipsed the earlier Green Party USA. The Green Party in the United States has won elected office mostly at the local level. Most winners of public office in the United States who are considered Greens have won non-partisan ballot elections, that is, elections in which the candidates' party affiliations were not printed on the ballot. In 2005, the party had 305,000 registered members in the District of Columbia and 20 states that allow party registration. During the 2006 elections, the party had ballot access in 31 states. In 2017, Ralph Chapman, a representative in the Maine House of Representatives, switched his association from unaffiliated to the Green Independent Party. The United States Green Party generally holds a left-wing ideology on most important issues. Greens emphasize environmentalism, non-hierarchical participatory democracy, social justice, respect for diversity, peace and non-violence. As of 2016, it is the fourth largest organized political party in the United States. The fourth is the Constitution Party. That is a small national conservative political party in the United States. It was founded as the U.S. Taxpayers Party in 1992 by Howard Phillips. The party's official name was changed to the Constitutional Party in 1999. However, some state affiliate parties are known under different names. The Constitution Party is strongly pro-life and supporters gun rights and restrictions on immigration. It calls for protectionist trade policies. In 2010, former Congressman Tom Tancredo was the Constitution Party candidate for governor of Colorado, coming in second with 6,17,030 votes, 36.4%, and ahead of the Republican candidate, Dan Myers, with 11.1%. The Constitution Party's 2012 presidential nominee was former Congressman Virgil Goode of Virginia. Tennessee attorney Darrell Castle was the 2016 Constitution Party nominee for President of the United States, and Scott Bradley of Utah was the nominee for Vice President. Now we touch the major party system. An article was written in the history of the United States and in the online history. The Democratic Party is one of two major political parties in the U.S., founded as the Democratic Republican Party in 1792 by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. It is the oldest extant voter-based political party in the world. The Democratic Party at its founding supported a different set of issues that it presently supports. From its founding until the mid-20th century, the Democratic Party was the dominant party among white Southerners, and as such was then the party most associated with the defense of slavery. However, following the Great Society under Lyndon B. Johnson, the Democratic Party became the more progressive party on issues of civil rights. They would slowly lose dominance in southern states until 1996, the last time they won any southern state. The Democratic Party since 1912 has positioned itself as the liberal party on domestic issues. The economic philosophy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, which has strongly influenced modern American liberalism, has shaped much of the party's agenda since 1932. Roosevelt's New Deal coalition controlled the White House until 1968, with the exception of the two terms of President Eisenhower from 1953 to 1961. Since the mid-20th century, Democrats have generally been in the center-left and currently support social justice, social liberalism, a mixed economy, and the welfare state. Although Bill Clinton and other New Democrats have pushed for free trade and neoliberalism, which is seen to have shifted the party rightwards. Democrats are currently strongest in the Northeast and West Coast, and in major American urban centers, African Americans and Latinos tend to be disproportionately Democratic, as do trade unions. In 2004, it was the largest political party with 72 million registered voters, 42.6% of 169 million registered claiming affiliation. Although his party lost the election for president in 2004, Barack Obama would later go on to become president in 2009 and continued to be the president until January 2017. Obama was the 15th Democrat to hold the office, and from the 2006 midterm elections until the 2014 midterm elections, the Democratic Party was also the majority party in the United States Senate. A 2011 USA Today review of state voter rolls indicates that the number of registered Democrats declined in 25 of 28 seats. Some states do not register voters by party. During this time, Republican registration also declined, as independent or no preference voting was on the rise. However, in 2011, Democrats' numbers shrank 8 lakh, and from 2008 they were down by 1.7 million, or 3.9%. In 2018, the Democratic Party was the largest in the United States with roughly 60 million registered members. The second is the Republican Party, which is one of the two major contemporary political parties in the United States of America. Since the 1880s, it has been nicknamed by the media the Grand Old Party, or GOP, although it is younger than the Democratic Party. Founded in 1854 by Northern anti-slavery activists and modernizers, the Republican Party rose to prominence in 1860 with the election of Abraham Lincoln, who used the party machinery to support victory in the American Civil War. The Grand Old Party, the Republican, dominated national politics during the third party system from 1854 to 1896, and the fourth party system from 1896 to 1932. Since its founding, the Republican Party has been the more market-oriented of the two American political parties, often favoring policies that aid American business interests. As a party whose power was once based on the voting power of Union Army veterans, this party has traditionally supported more robust national defense measures and improved veterans' benefits. Today, the Republican Party supports an American conservative platform with further foundations in economic liberalism, fiscal conservatism, and social conservatism. The Republican Party tends to be strongest in the southern United States and the flyover states, as well as suburban and rural areas in other states. Since the 2010 midterm elections, the Republicans held a majority in the United States House of Representatives until the 2018 midterms, where they lost it to the Democratic Party. Additionally, since the 2014 elections, the Republican Party has controlled the Senate. In 2018, the Republican Party had roughly 55 million registered members, making it the second largest party in the United States. It is noticeable that these two parties have won every United States presidential elections since 1852 and have controlled the United States Congress to some extent since at least 1856. There are numerous minor or third parties, which already we have mentioned, and those parties are the constructor of political system of the United States. The function of the political parties that has to expand the electorate, and the political parties evolved to mobilize the growing mass of voters as the means of political control. Political parties became institutionalized to accomplish this essential task. The number of independent or third party members of the Congress or of state legislature is extremely low. In politics, if we see the function of the political parties, that is an organized group of people who have the same ideology or who otherwise have the same political positions and who field candidates for elections in an attempt to get them elected and thereby implement their agenda. The major functions of political parties are the roles and functions of political parties: nominate the candidates, rally their supporters, participate in government, act as a bonding agent for their own office holders, and act as a watchdog over the other party. In a democratic system, political parties is the link between government and citizen. Political party is the group of the people indulged to speak with government with an intention to safeguard the interest of common people of the country. The others' roles are to issue schemes and policies, to make amendments in the law and legislation, to shape the public opinion in front of the government, to act as links between government and officers to see how country run and what factors affect the country's economy. So the participant culture, in which the rich participant, the political parties always engage the peoples and give them political training through their charter or manifesto and their meetings and sessions, and they give a lot of knowledge, the political knowledge, the democratic behavior to the people of that country, so that they can give the judgments on the governmental policies and they can criticize the government policies.